Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the early life of Roblox, as many people are on the verge of nostalgia with 2026 and going back to 2016. So I feel like they would love a little nostalgia. So let's go ahead and, as we said, Roblox was going to in the early stages of Roblox, I should say, they contained a lot of games involving physics, which was a lot of the early research that they were doing in the '90s. Eric and David. So a lot of the early games in Roblox included Obbies, Crossroads, and Doomspire Brick Battle was one of them too. And then some of the other classic Roblox games that were released a little earlier, but you and I can think of. Hide and Seek Extreme is a good one, and Work at a Pizza Place. Work at a Pizza Place came out in 2009, and also many others. And then Roblox started to gain a little traction in their platform. They started the Developer Exchange Program, also known as DevX, in 2013, and it allowed creators to start making money off the games they were making. So that's a quick oh my god, speech today. That's a little bit of a crash course on Roblox, and now we're going to get to the part, Toddy, where they start to become more corporate. So they announced that they were going to start shifting into a more professional aspect. I think you and I know where we're going with this. I honestly think that, the corporatization, they were trying to appeal to investors a little more. They were trying to probably please whoever they were trying to please. And they were also just trying to be noticeable in the tech world. I mean, they're now more noticeable than they were in 2016, 2017. And in 2021, they ended up joining the New York Stock Exchange. So yeah, now more people start to care about them in a nutshell. I would say too, I don't know, Toddy, when Roblox started to become a corporation, was there, I don't know, I'm curious just because I can think of something that was a warning sign to Roblox, with their corporate decisions and, a lot of the changes and how they were making these decisions. Was there anything that stood out to you that, kind of started to be that red flag when they originally became a corporation in 2021?
Yeah. At first, I wasn't really worried about how they became corporate, since pretty much by then they still focused on the game that basically kids and teenagers and, dare I say, adults even like. Um, the thing that kind of worried about me a bit was the redesign of their logo.
Mm-hmm.
I barely got used to it, but
Mm-hmm.
that's I mean, I still got used to it afterwards, but that's when I started to at least get a little bit worried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When did they redesign their logo? Was that 2022? Yeah, I want to say 2022. I don't know. 2023 it could have been. I don't know. Is your mind is your
Some
Go ahead.
I'll gamble it and say it was probably somewhere between that point.
Okay. Yeah. Um I agree with you. I think that the logo change. I think they were trying to make a whole fresh look anyways. Because they were also changing terminologies at the time, right? I wrote down.
Yeah.
I mean, technically this wasn't Roblox's fault. I think they were a little upset just because they were being dragged in by Epic Games, the developers of Fortnite, because they were in a battle with Apple. Because Apple was mad at Epic Games because they were doing things against App Store guidelines. And I think it had to do with the store within a store thing, where Apple was like, you can't do that. And then also, Epic did not like the fact that Apple was taking 30% of the purchases made on the App Store, when people would buy V-Bucks and stuff like that. So that was a whole thing. And Roblox, I think Epic tried to refer to Roblox and was like, hey, they do this too, so why aren't you suing them, or why aren't you mad at them? And that was the time when Roblox ended up changing the name of games to experiences, because they were like, well, we don't really have games, so it doesn't apply to our platform. We're kind of more of a social platform, and therefore we have experiences. And games, every experience isn't a game, and every game is an experience. That's what they tried to, that's the type of narrative that they tried to push. And then more recently, they ended up changing the terms of friends. So you don't have friends on Roblox anymore. You have connections. Personally, I mean, these don't mean. I mean, personally, the changing in terminology doesn't mean anything to me. They'll always be games, and we always refer to them as games. Friends to connections, maybe. I can understand why people would be upset at that, just because I don't know. Maybe it's a little demeaning.